It's a new day, Noonan. Yes, it is. And this is the exact right moment. Now, what does that mean? It's the way I live improv, right? I'm an improvisational actor and director. And the way I like to approach my scenes is this is the exact right moment. Nothing matters more than showing this moment right here to the audience. Do I always know what's going to come out of it? Of course not. That's improv. But that's how life is too. We don't know what's going to come out of the moments. But we know that we're here. And isn't it better to be in these moments and say, you know what? This is the exact right moment for me. This is what I need to be doing right now. Versus saying, this moment isn't even right. Because if the moment isn't even right, then there's no way the results can be right. So we are in the right moment. You are in the right moment. You can learn, you can be annoyed, or you can be inspired. That's up to you. And that's up to the universe and the astrological signs like Paris and Equanimous, astrological signs that girls get tattoos of. Anyways, I am Noonan Time with Harold. You can find me at noonantimewithharold.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Noonan Time with Harold. And of course, you can find the podcast right here, Noonan Podcast with Harold. I reach millions of locals every single month. We're bussing and we're giving up to you all the funniest things about Coweta County, about Peachtree City. We're here to make you laugh. We're here to take the Noonan Times Herald and do it the way it was meant to be done. And today we have a special guest. It is Tim Ryan, who's running for District 3 Coweta County Commissioner. According to his Facebook page, to fight overdevelopment, prevent tax hikes, and preserve Coweta's character, a father, husband, and educator. Tim brings integrity and a commitment to smart, balanced growth. Does that mean he's going to be fun to talk to for the next 2 episodes? I don't know. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to find out. So please welcome, it's Da Boy. He's here. We've got him. He's sitting across from me. He's looking handsome. He's got a striped shirt on. I'm going to describe what he looks like because the listeners cannot see it. He's wearing I'm colorblind. I forgot about that. He's wearing a red and blue and white, like American flag colors, kind of.
Rugby
with a collar shirt. He's got a watch. His arms are so hairy. This is one of the more hairy men I've ever had in my house. As somebody who cannot grow body hair, anyway. This is a hairy man. We have Tim Ryan in the studio. Tim!
Hello, how's it going, Harold?
It's going really, really well. I've got some nerd gummy clusters, I've got a Dr. K, and I've got a hairy, handsome man sitting across from me in my living room.
You do, and I have my Callaway Blue water, the best on the planet.
When people ask me, what do you do when your girlfriend's at work? I have hairy men come and hang out with me in the living room.
In secret.
It's not in secret. It's literally being recorded and put all over the internet. Nothing about this is secret.
No, it's not, Harold.
So tell me a little bit about you for anybody who doesn't. I didn't know who you were up until probably 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And then you slid into my DMs, as the kids say.
That's right.
But who are you?
Well, you got my name, and I'm kind of a Georgia native, so to speak. I moved here when I was about 4.5 years old. I was born in California, and my dad was transferred back in the day when transfers were a thing to have happen. We moved to Stone Mountain, Georgia, and I lived there pretty much my entire lifetime. I'm a Georgia State grad. Went to St. Pius. I'm Catholic. I went to Georgia State, graduated from there, ended up going into the industrial pressure-sensitive tape and adhesive business.
What is the Georgia State mascot? I used to watch their football team.
It's a panther.
A panther,
yes,
okay.
A blue panther.
Okay.
We just got destroyed on our first week. They have a football program now.
Yeah, I know. My ex-wife went to school there, so in principle, I have to cheer against them.
You're anti. Well,
so sorry.
They're not very, very, very good yet. Their program is still in its infancy, so it'll be another 20 years.
Are they the ones that play at the old Turner Field?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do. They were given that amazing stadium, and they played. who was it? Not Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and got destroyed. I think it was like 60-something to 7. So anyways, I ended up getting my master's there. Well, let me stop. I was in a pretty bad motorcycle. Okay, I'm lying already. It was a scooter accident that happened to me in 2006. I was in a coma for about 4 or 5 days.
Well, see, now I can't make fun of it. It was serious.
You can. I mean,
When you say scooter, do you mean like a push scooter or an
no, like
electric
a
scooter?
80cc Honda Elite.
Okay,
is
that
what it
can be
was.
scary then.
Yeah, I was on my way to the Vortex in Little Five.
Okay, I know Vortex.
And there's no left-hand turn lane crossing Ponce de Leon at Briarcliff and Moreland. Long story short, as I got ran down, dude left the scene. I woke up in Grady 4 or 5 days, and then I left there thinking, I don't want to do my old job anymore. I need a change. I'm 35, 34 years old with
So you were like inspired by a near-death experience.
Yeah, it somehow brought me into the world of teaching school. And so I started to sub. I quit my job.
Is there anything, because this is interesting, is there anything else when you came out of this coma
Yes.
that you changed dramatically besides the job? Like, did you have a girlfriend? You're like, ugh.
Yeah, no, she's done. Well, that was that ended.
Okay.
Yeah, that she and apparently her hospital bedside manner didn't sit well with my mom. So
Okay.
apparently that was the beginning of the end of that.
So
But,
basically, if anybody's having a really hard time in life, your advice would be to get hit by a car when you're on a
get
scooter.
run down on a
and be in
scooter
coma.
and reassess. That's
yeah.
right.
All right,
yeah.
cool. I'll remember that.
So, anyways, I decided to figure out what I wanted to do. I went into Georgia to CAB, started taking some nursing classes because I thought, I'll be an RN. My best friend's mom was a nurse anesthetist. That's a tongue twister.
What is that?
It's basically like an anesthesiologist, but you don't have the doctor degree, but you're the one doing all the work.
Oh, okay.
And so she was a nurse anesthetist, and I always grew up with that. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do some nursing. And boy, the stoichiometry classes were a real tough class. So then I decided that wasn't going to be the way I was going to go, and started to substitute teach because I was like, you know what, I got some time to figure it out. I had the money to take this time off, so I said, let me start subbing in DeKalb County at all the schools that were our rivals when I was a kid at Redan before I went to St. Pius. And I just sort of fell into it. In sixth grade earth science was what I kind of ended up teaching. And I did that, and I taught for 14 years in DeKalb County.
As a sub?
I was only sub for a handful of months.
Okay,
and
then you got
I
pulled
got
into
my
14
I
years.
got the job. Then I had to go take all the certifications.
Mm-hmm.
Then during the tenure, I think in 2013, I went back and got my master's from Georgia State again. Real sorry about that. And got that again traditional. I didn't want to do online, and got my master's. And then just had a bunch of great things that I did. I was part of the team of like 2 or 3 people that got the first STEM certified school, Georgia DOE, in the whole state, Title I school, that they said,
wow.
You'll never get that done. I love when you tell me what I can't do because
Yeah,
then
I'm the same way.
It fuels me even more to do it. And then we decided that Atlanta had just, after COVID, Atlanta, which I love. I mean, I love Atlanta, but there's just too many people. The density had reached it wasn't sustainable.
Not enough scooter accidents.
That's exactly right.
Too many people.
Well, no more motorcycles or scooters, that's for sure. But Atlanta had just become the police side of it. I lived in the east part of Buckhead, which they don't like to claim as ours because we're the Cheshire Bridge Road side of Buckhead.
Sure. This sounds like Bridgerton stuff. I don't know what you're talking
they were
about.
like, sorry, we don't want them in, but police never came. There was a lot of break-ins. Crime was bad. The only thing I truly miss from Atlanta is obviously the friends that we picked up and left from, because driving to Atlanta is like, you almost have to take an airplane to get there. It just takes so long.
Yeah, I used to go up there 2 or 3 times a week for improv shows, improv classes, and stuff like that. And it got enough. I was like, I know I hate Noonan's traffic, but I don't.
No, it's
Atlanta's
bad.
so much
No.
worse.
Well, so what we did is that we just decided to move. I do miss the restaurants. If there's one thing about Atlanta that they do a really fantastic job on, is the food culture that's there. I do miss that part of it. Not that Noonan doesn't have its spots, but per capita, I think.
What spot in Noonan is the closest to the best spot in Atlanta?
It's in Peachtree City, I would call to say.
No.
I know. Can you believe that? At least the ones that I've eaten, we do eat it quite a bit. Cafe 1485
I've heard great
is
things.
amazing.
Yeah.
That place
The owner's great.
Oh, the whole staff, everything is great there. But I do like the Curious Cantina in Peachtree City. That's amazing.
Never been.
They have a whole myriad of restaurants that they have, but in my opinion, it's the only one I've eaten at, so I can't have an opinion about the other ones.
Automatically,
they are opening up a Curious Kitchen, moving it from Sonoy here to
I made a joke about that, and they got mad at me.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, they're good. They're good guys. They can take it. Mac and Scott are good people. And at any rate, I think that's a great place. And some of the small town stuff that we have here too. I like going to Christie's. I mean, I love Golden's. I can't say that compares to anything in Atlanta.
Yeah.
A meat and three or whatever. But I am excited to be in Noonan. So we just decided to move. And why did we choose Noonan? Well, my wife still has to go into town a couple days a week sometimes for work. So exit 51 was as far as I could drag her away off Sharpsburg, McCullum. And, we found 11 and a half acres of land out here. I'm about to finish, thank God, building the house. And we just really like the culture. I looked at the school system. I did 3 years here before I retired. It was just time. 17 years teaching middle school is plenty. And I'd always did other things in the summertime because we don't have to. We don't have to work. You get that time off. So I've always found jobs to do, and I just started working for this company selling signs.
Selling signs?
Signs.
Like the Little Caesar signs that people spin?
No.
I'm picturing you on the side of the road spinning a
the
pizza
hairy
sign.
guy spinning signs. No, if you were to open a restaurant, we'd do the sign there.
Oh, like the signs that go up.
Yeah, like churches will have the message boards that they have to put the plastic letters on. They're kind of getting tired of that, so we'll put an LED in there for them.
Okay, yeah. I've noticed a lot of them have changed into that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the Noonan they allow LEDs, but Coweta County does not. So if you're
I didn't realize that
at this point, yeah, it's tough because a lot of the Cowetians want to have signs on their businesses, but they can't yet because of the ordinance. So
that's so silly.
It's a modern world. In 20 years, if you don't have an LED in front of you,
Although I always think it's fun when you go by one of those old-fashioned church signs that change out the letters, and there's usually a letter that fell off.
Assuming they change them and have some sort of an interesting, quick little quip of some.
Yeah, it gives you a peek into the personality of the pastor.
But how many times do they not change it? And it's winter and it says, have a great summer, or something along those lines. So
That's how you know how lazy the church is. And I go, I don't want to go there. I bet their communion's stale.
Well, I just talked to a pastor the other day. They were changing it out because the assistant fell off the ladder and broke her leg. So I think there's some safety issues that deal with some of that for the LED. But at any rate, we just decided that Noonan was a fantastic place to live. I didn't realize it was the fastest growing county in the state of Georgia at this point in time, but we were able to find a slice of heaven that we bought, and we love it. And
so that means you've been in Noonan how long?
3 years.
3 years.
3
Oh,
years.
You're kind of a baby.
3 years and a couple months. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just now starting to be like where you can say where something is, and I'm like, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Trying to figure my way out around Noonan, but it's interesting because it is a small community, but it's bigger than you think. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah,
But,
I've been here forever, and I'm still running into new stuff. I'm like, okay, cool.
yeah, but and sometimes I wonder if it's the cycle of patterns of people that you speak to, because I feel like I see the same individuals kind of over and over again. Even random people I don't know, I'll be like, I saw them at the
that's
Walmart.
your stalker, so that's a little different.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's a different discussion.
That's the guy who watches from the tree in your front yard.
Right. But I do think Noonan is that perfect slice of 160,000 people, which is what Coweta's population is.
So in no way do you consider this a stepping stone into somewhere new. This is sort of where you guys want to.
Yeah, this is it. And when we have a place down in the west side of Panama, a little teeny 500 square foot house that's really close to the water. It's a 5-iron away from the beach, and that's 150 feet.
I was about to say, don't know what that is. That like a golf
I saw
thing?
your face. Your mustache was twitching, and so I
Usually only does that when I'm excited. So
well, maybe you need to pick up golf. It's close to the beach, and so coming to Noonan shaved an hour off of the drive. So
okay.
I can be driveway to driveway in about 4 hours, 23 minutes is my best time with no stopping, no bathroom breaking, no Chick-fil-A on the way down. Let's just get there. And that's what it took. So it did shave an hour. In fact, I remember coming home before we moved, and we'd get to kind of Noonan area, and we'd look at the signs, and it would say, you're another 45 miles, 50 miles away from Atlanta. And I thought, man, how do we get closer? And you could probably argue that that sign was planting the seed that moved to Noonan. So.
And you're married.
I am, 17 years.
About to ask how long you've been married.
Yeah, Patty and I went to high school together at St. Pius, but we were in the same class. But when you have 250 kids, there's a chance that you don't know them. And so I knew who Patricia Mendelson was by name. She used to go out with Nice Guy Bry. So
you're just giving out all the names of these people.
He was a soccer player. That's what we called him. And he was a very nice kid. We're good friends.
Was a very nice kid.
Well, he's a man now, so I can't.
That's true. Yeah, that'd be a little weird. Like, hey, kid.
But I knew who Patricia was, but we ran in different circles. And then in 2008, after I was singled from my scooter coma.
Yes, singled.
Facebook became a thing in 2008. And I remember, what did people do when Facebook first came out? Well, you're like in third grade, so you barely remember. But they were like looking up stuff, right? Like, oh my God, let's see if so-and-so is on here and what they look like. And because, it was a good chance to have a digital yearbook, if you will, an update. And I saw Patricia, Patty on there and was like, wow, I need to see her. And I arranged a meeting. And, when you're 35, 36 years old, I guess you know a little bit sooner than you did when you were in your 20s. So we just started to date pretty heavily. And then a year later, we exchanged jewelry.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
To find the person you're married to. Because I'm 36 now, and I feel like I just found the person I'm going to marry like last year.
See, but
so look at that. You're like inspiring me.
That's about right. They say 35 is kind of the sort of the spot, with that.
Well, the girl I like is not 35 yet. That means I got to wait 3 more years before she's in love with me.
Well, but she's at least 18.
She's very much at least 18. She's in her 30s.
That's right. No, that's good that you being 36 and saying that you're found your love. Well, I was involved with something that had to do with something like that at the time.
Right. Based on what I have learned about you, you were on Oprah?
Yes.
The legit Oprah?
Yeah, legit. Skinny Oprah, too, when she was still thin. It was in 2007, and I think the episode was called like Looking for Love or something. Anyways, I was at the time trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was like I told you, I was doing some nursing school classes, and I was working at a bakery as sort of a part-time job, not so I didn't burn all my money away. Long story short of it is, this guy made the most amazing chocolate chip cookies. Well, the Oprah, I was on Match.com, and this is when Match was clean, right? This is before any of these other sites. It was Match and eHarmony were the only ones to really be on, and like I said, it was clean. And so I was dating and doing some stuff, and all of a sudden I get a phone call one day, and on the caller ID it said Harpo Productions, but I answered it. And then they're like, hey, this is the Oprah show. And I hung up, like, ha-ha, this is ha-ha, thought it was somebody messing with it. Well, they called me back and said, no, this is legit. Oprah is doing a show for men 35 and older that have never been married, don't have any kids, that all her writers are upset.
Still a virgin?
Maybe not that, but they basically, Oprah was saying there are still good men 35 and over that have not been married and blah blah blah. And so she read my profile, and I was invited to the show. I actually brought the cookies, told the baker, I was like, I'm going to get Oprah to eat your cookies here. I knew you were going to laugh at that. And he was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, well, there you go, telling me I can't do something.
You're going to do it.
I not only brought the cookies, on air, she said it was the best chocolate chip cookie she ever ate.
Oh, wow.
If he hadn't have been sort of such a self-absorbed narcissist, I would have signed away the rights, because I got 10,000 emails through Match.com asking me for cookies. Please sell me cookies. I'm like, bro, here's 10,000 orders for cookies. Come up with the Oprah Cookie Guy. That was my unofficial name. And but I brought them on there and passed them out to the poor bachelorettes that thought they were getting a car or some other amazing thing that Oprah was giving, and all they got was our email addresses. I felt so bad for them. What a letdown. But it was a fun experience to be on the show. And, I should be a cookie fortune guy. Right? I should be sitting right here telling you that I own Oprah Cookie Guy, and I'm a millionaire because of it. But
did you go on a date with anybody from the show?
I mean, Match.com, I already had that in the deal, but it was interesting because you knew where the show would air because Match gave out the email address, right? So, I mean, I still have emails I haven't even opened. Sometimes I'll go through them and just laugh at some of them, but you knew where the show broadcast because all of a sudden it was in India because I get 25
from people in India,
and I got some from China, and I got some from. So you get to see the week it took to circulate the globe. It's sad though because I've had my friends that have tried to go out and seek it, but Oprah's rule, she owns all her content, so you can find the episode that it was on there, and there's a picture. That's me touching the mic. There's a picture of me holding the box of cookies, standing right next to Oprah, and nobody else had anything because I have to bring something when they tell you not to. But I just thought that was funny that you're at that same age, right? You're 35, although you sounds like you have a bunch of baggage, and that was what wasn't supposed to be on the show. But
yeah, a little bit.
I know, just have children. And
stuff. I've already been married, and I do have a kid.
That's good.
But
I think it's great, and fantastic picture on the wall. I'll tell you, Harold, of your.
Podcast listeners, there's a picture on our wall.
An amazing picture, by the way.
I'll post it on the page.
Super cute. But yeah, so that was my experience on the Oprah Winfrey show. And then there was some small things that came with that. I did get to be on the Steve and Vicky show on Star 94. And that was not a big deal, but it kind of was a big deal to me because I grew up listening to Steve McCoy. He's not with us anymore. He passed away to cancer or something awful. It was a cool 15 minutes of fame, if you will.
So I don't remember if you already said this. Where did you meet your now wife?
Patty, we talked about it a little bit, but I saw her on Facebook.
That's right.
Like, oh my God, look at the people that graduated. And when I saw her on there, she had a little picture with a little schnauzer, and I had a golden, Labrador retriever. And I remember writing her and saying, hey, Patricia Middleton, this is Tim Ryan from, how are you doing? And hey, I see you have a dog. You want to take your dog for a walk and hang out or something cheesy. But basically she said
cheesy, it's cute.
She said yes, and we ended up hanging out, and Maggie was a girl and Chance was a boy, so they got to have some boy girl time themselves. So sometimes I think I almost think about everybody has different situations, but I always think that like finding a mate reminds me of college. Sometimes I wish out of high school everybody took a year to kind of do some things before you jumped right into college.
So you're saying there should be mandatory military service?
I think that I'm not against that. I mean, France does. I think you got it. My buddy has got.
Yeah, but is France's military a good example of
anything?
I don't
know. I mean, they're big in the NATO component. They do their 5% of their GDP. But I do think that some type of service, whether it be military or civil, would be something that I think should be a requirement for the country. Especially, I even think for our immigration policy. I think if somebody comes in and helps with that should be automatic citizenship.
It's a pretty open thought process on it all.
I mean, when my family generation came from Ireland, I mean, people that came in the Civil War, they got to be citizens as long as they signed conscription to fight for the North. So maybe that's during wartime, but I do think that, having some sort of way to serve your country, your nation, your government should be rewarded in some fashion, So I think with the immigration being a big issue, there'd be a way to help do that, So, but that's above my pay grade at this point.
So your pay grade and politics, at what point did you decide you had some interest in local politics? Or has it always been there? It's just coming out now more.
It's a good question. I've always followed politics. When I was in high school, there used to be a show called The McLaughlin Group, and it was like on PBS, and nobody listening probably even knows what that was, but it was a political show. Pat Buchanan back in the old days was on it, and when he was younger. And so it had all types of different viewpoints from every spectrum of of the political spectrum of Democrat, Republican, Independent, and I like to listen to it quite a bit. And I was always a big Wall Street Journal reader, so I liked history, I liked politics, and was involved with them in discussion. I had never had any thought of wanting to run or get in that rat race. And there's a guy that I met that was a state congressman. And I got to meet him through mutual friends. And one of the things that he said to me, I had told him, like, hey, I'm thinking about running for this commissioner job. What do you think about it? And he said, to be honest, you'll have more of a chance to do stuff on a local level that makes a difference than I ever did as a state congressman. In the Congress, unless you are there for tenure, you don't get to be in charge of any of the committees. You don't get to really do anything. You just kind of go up for 2 weeks, make your votes, and then you got to run again because it's every 2 years. And he was a county commissioner in a neighboring county, and he said, I'm telling you the things that we get to do and the issues that you're discussing with me about, you would better be best to try to do something. So before I even announced, I started to go to commissioner meetings. I've been to about 15, 16 of them so far. There's only 2 a month. And I started to pay attention and see who voted for what and who wasn't listening, and look at the data that they use, because when they come up with a decision, they get a packet, that they of information that somebody, Michael Fouts, gives it to them or whoever it is. And I started to read what they read, and I thought, you need more information here. There's not enough data in my opinion, for someone to be able to make a vote on that. And so my wife was the one that said, well, honey, why don't you run?
And on that incredible cliffhanger, we're going to stop part 1 of our interview with Dr. Tim Ryan. I don't think he's a doctor. I guess I never asked outright, hey, dude, are you a doctor? So you know what? We're going to stick with that. Dr. Tim Ryan. We'll be back next week with episode 2. I love you. I love you. It's a new day, Noonan. Yes, it is. And I am Papa Roach, who could be a coach. I am Daddy Long Legs and even longer arms, if you know what I mean, baby. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I mean there, but it's been said and can't go back. You're not allowed to say something on a podcast and then delete it and try again. So it is now in the universe. The things I have said. This is the exact right moment for you to be here, for you to be alive. That's how That's how we try to think over at Team Harold, that this is the exact right moment for you. And you are choosing it to listen to Noonan Podcast with Harold. Likely, you are doing something else. But maybe not. Maybe you are laying flat. You've got darkness surrounding you. The only thing you hear right now, in those itty-bitty baby ears of yours, is the sound of my voice, and probably the fridge, and maybe a cat eating. The AC might be going. There's a lot of, we live by Sprayberry, so you might be hearing the sound of vomiting nearby. Could be that too. So it could be a host of noises. But I say that out of love. I love you, vomiting customer of Sprayberry. I'm here for you. You can find me at noonantimewithharold.com. Noonan Time with Harold on Facebook. Noonan Time with Harold on Instagram. And of course, you can find the podcast, Noonan Podcast with Harold, anywhere you enjoy podcasts, just by searching Noonan Podcast with Harold. Then follow along, listen, download, love us. Today is part 2. We're finishing up, we're picking up exactly where we left off, our episode of our interview with Tim Ryan. He is here. He's here to talk more about what he brings to the political table. He's here to play some fun trivia games, and he's here to try to deal with me for another 20-ish minutes. And truly, if a man can do that, is there anything else we need from them? If a grown man can handle me... Oh, wait, no, this is sounding kind of erotic. And this is not an erotic podcast at all. This is a very professional interview.
So my wife was the real catalyst to say, hey, honey, she probably got sick of hearing me talk about politics, but we sunk a lot of money into Coweta County. You know, I bought the land. We're financing the house out of our own money. And, you know, we spent our nest egg to stay here. I mean, I'm going to die in Coweta County. You know, this is it. We're not moving anywhere else. There's no more stepping stone. And so what happens in this community is important to me. And I grew up in Stone Mountain, which is, go there now. There's nothing left. There's a small little town, but it's not a functioning community the same way that Noonan is. And there's a lot of different reasons of how that happened, but I feel like I see a different story for Noonan, but a similar ending, which is just too many people, too much density, a degradation of services, not enough revenue that's going to support the growth. I mean, just a myriad of things that I think, hey, I'm not seeing people. There are some commissioners that I agree with, but the one that I'm seeking to take his seat is one that I don't necessarily know these last 2 terms have been in the best interest of Noonan.
Who's that?
Bob Blackburn.
Bob Blackburn.
Yes, he is. He'll be running for his 5th seat, which also says that I'm not sure it's within my power to do so, but I would certainly love to see term limits.
Yeah, I hear that
for that. I mean, 4 maybe, that's 16 years. If it was 12, I'd be okay with that too, 3 terms. And, you know, I'm not trying to express any ageism because I don't care how old you are. I think that there should just be a certain amount of time where you're able to make a difference. And 12 years should be enough. And then bring somebody else in with some ideas to move it. When you have people that have been in power for 40 years, that's a long time. And so that means everything good comes with you, but also everything bad kind of comes with you, you know. And so term limits will be something that, again, I'm not sure that's in my purview, but as a commissioner, I would, hope to say, hey guys, let's put this on there. I'm not sure the guys that are on their 4th term and hear me say that are going to want to do that.
No.
But
I mean, if I was in their position, I'd be like, nah.
Right.
But it's one of those things.
But it's one of those things. I'm not campaigning on it per se, but I do think that it is something that government needs to really take a look at is term limits.
Is this your first time getting into politics?
It is. I mean, except for running for class treasurer in 10th grade.
Did you get the part?
I did. I got elected
All right.
in 10th grade.
Did you do a good job?
I mean, they had probably the best prom they've ever had. 'Cause that's what we had to do as the 10th grade. We had to help support the prom. That was essentially our entire function.
See, I was homeschooled, so when people
Okay.
tell stories about high school and proms, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Sounds. I only know what the movie show it like, so I
Yeah.
have no idea what the
Well,
prom would be
apparently Noonan is a huge homeschooled community, with Coweta in general. I mean, you could just look at that from the data. If you look at the schools in Coweta County as a whole, and I learned all this during the 581 bill debacle when whether they were an opt-in or whether they'd opt out, House Bill 581. But if you look at it, Coweta County in almost 10 years has not increased the student population. It's run about 22.5 to 23, back to 22. It's not increased. So how can the fastest growing county in Coweta, with all the neighborhoods and all the people, not increase the student population?
I didn't know that.
Well, there must be either through Trinity exploding or some of the other private schools that are sort of around, or really just the increase in homeschooling. I mean, that's all I can really figure it in, because I would have expected the Coweta County school system to increase their numbers. I know they're certainly increasing their budgets. 66 cents of every dollar in tax money in Coweta County goes to the school system. That means the entire county, fire, police, investigations, not trash collection because that's all privatized, but all the services have to be managed with 33 cents of every dollar. That's a lot to get done. Education I think the school is the largest employer in Coweta County, is the Coweta County Board of Education.
So this first jump into politics, when does this election take place? When does, you're kind of just popping up as a name?
Yeah, I'm kind of ahead
internet.
I'm ahead of the game a little bit, because I've submitted all my paperwork. Technically, the paperwork I think is in January is when it officially starts, and then every month you have to start submitting your campaign contributions. I went ahead and declared early so I can go ahead and start accepting money a little bit earlier in fundraising. But January is the qualifying, and then after that, excuse me, May 19th is the primary, because it is a partisan race, unlike the city council or the mayor race in Noonan. Those are nonpartisan. It is a partisan race. So I'm on the Republican ticket. So if any Republicans are running, they'll have to fight it out in the primary. Then after the primary, there's only one. You'll run against the declared Democrat, and you'll be on the November, I think it's 4th or 7th. It's the first Tuesday in November is how it's constitutionally written. So whatever date that is, the first Tuesday in November is when I will be hopefully be on the official, ballot for District 3.
So this is a long process.
Yeah, I think it's been a good way to kind of ease into it to start. And all I've been doing is meeting with people in Coweta and Noonan, and I mean some old school people that have been natives since 1820s even, and really touching base with them, not just so much to secure their vote or whether they like me, but I really want to hear them, and I want to hear what some of their issues are outside of obvious things like development or the annexations that are going on, things like that. I really kind of wanted to understand the dynamic of what progress means to them, because that's a very subjective word. I had another constituent that was all mad at me, and he says, well, there no progress. I don't want any progress. And I'm like, well, certain progress is good. If your kid grows when they're 4, if they grow 2 inches in a year, that's progress. That's good progress, right? I mean, if you go for cancer screening and all of a sudden your counts are down or it's in remission, well, that's progress. So I don't always think progress means something in a bad way.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it puts it in perspective, and it means something very different to everybody else. A lot of people think, well, progress means data centers. How's that progress? So I understand everybody thinks it's something different. So meeting and talking with people, I typically do it at a breakfast. I like having breakfast. 1485 has been my spot.
Yeah, when I asked you what time you wanted to meet today, you're like, yeah, as early as we could possibly meet.
Yeah.
However, whenever you're ready, let's do it early. I was like, all right, he's an early guy.
Yeah, I think...
Which I think the best politicians are early risers.
Well, that's a good endorsement there, Harold. I just think I
don't know if anybody's looking for my endorsements, but
I don't know, man. 8,000 followers apparently
8,000
now,
followers,
right? That's
over
a big deal.
2.5 million visitors a month, baby.
That's awesome.
I haven't promoted myself yet today.
No,
this episode is now about me. How great I am.
But talking to constituents and people in Coweta and in Newnan, even people that aren't even inside my voting realm. I mean, there's only 30,000 people only that are in District 3. And only 2,700 of those were people that voted in the primary. So that's even a smaller audience, right, that I need to appeal to. But I think what's happening in Coweta, as a commissioner, I don't just vote on what happens in District 3. I vote on what happens to Coweta County. Yeah. So it's important for me to hear from all different people, walks of life, professions, and it's been really interesting having these conversations.
Do you know if anyone else in the race is getting out as early as you?
No, there was someone that I heard was going to go in it, and then they bowed out. I haven't really heard, of anybody coming in. I've heard a lot of different individuals that are running for different things, but nothing for District 3. I expect somebody to probably come out of the woodwork, or if Bob ends up not deciding to run and wants to endorse somebody else. I mean, it just is what it is. I just know someone did ask me in a recent conversation. They said, "Well, I'm curious about this. Are you just so hell-bent on running that no matter who's in the race, you're going to run?" And I said, well, no. If somebody came in the race that I personally felt like I could endorse, I'd want to meet them, talk to them a little bit, ask some questions and some concerns that I have. And if they met all the metrics and they were like a local, Cowetian that everybody knew, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? They're most likely going to win the election. And because if they just had the brand recognition, I have no problem with doing that. But just because someone else is going to run against me.
I think that is the right way to look at it if you actually are in this
for the right reason. That's right.
Versus
and if I don't win,
popularity contest. I
at least gave it a chance, and I can always say if things happen in Coweta that I don't like, that I at least, took up arms and that I was able to put my foot in to say, hey, I'm not going to sit on the sidelines. I want to make a difference. And, to me, problem solving is something that I really, really enjoy. I like to hear situations and then look at it from a bigger picture. And at this point in time, I'm not really sure some of that's happening at the commissioner level.
What do you think your biggest hurdle will be trying to get elected?
Just name recognition, going out there, putting your signs out there and just campaigning, I guess, in general. I mean, I have heard from a lot of people in my district that like Bob Blackburn on a personal level. I mean, his family is a family name of Coweta County, but he's made some bad votes. He's also a real estate agent. And,
Brady.
Yeah, well, and I'm not saying that some of the Blackburn acquisitions weren't good things. I mean, Piedmont Hospital had to be put somewhere, right? And just because somebody has the land on it, that doesn't bother me. I think that's okay, right? You don't fault somebody for owning a good piece of real estate. Now, I don't know if he voted on some of those things. That's a different argument. But I just think that there have been some folks that have been like, hey, I'm glad you're running against Bob. I'm going to vote for you. And that was a bit part of why I did it as well, is I got some really good feedback from a handful of really, really older folks that said, I think you have a chance. I think you could do it. I like where your head is. I like what you're saying to me. I like that you care. I mean, I put my money where my mouth is. On my 11 acres, I've already had somebody come and try to buy it for 3 times what I paid for it. I'm not going to sell it. And I have a 950 square foot house that I'm building. Not a giant monster mansion. I'm building a small house. It's a little bit bigger than what you would call a tiny home, but I'm kind of putting my money where my mouth is. I'm not building a monster, I don't want to have to pay for it. But yeah, I'm excited to run for Coweta County, and I'm excited to know where the county is going. And I'm excited, most importantly, by the individuals that I'm meeting on this journey for commissioner.
So then what do you think the thing is that'll make this the most successful possibility for you? If your hurdle is getting your name out there.
I think that's really about it. I'm looking forward to the debates. I wish we would have more. So whoever is coming out, I think let's do that. I'm not sure how that works. I know there's a handful of them. that are coming up. I know the Chamber has a hobnob event that they do.
A hobnob?
That's what they call it officially.
Hobnob.
It's a political hobnob.
Okay.
Candace Boothby does a good job, and she puts those things out. And so
I can think about 12 different things a hobnob would be, and they're all weird.
yes, this is a G-rated podcast.
I was thinking more like
I'm just
Amish community.
Who knows what it is?
Who can make butter the fastest? It's a hobnobber.
And then between the Noonan Times Herald debates, and then of course maybe you should host a couple debates.
Oh, I've been contacting the Brady team, the Beck team. And they don't want to talk to me, so they're gonna regret it because if they don't talk to me, I'm gonna get someone to play as them.
Oh Lord!
I'm gonna get a little kid in here with a hand puppet, and I'm gonna say, "This is Brady," and they're gonna regret it.
Well, the good part is you'll be able to know a lot of the policies because every candidate's pretty much put out what it is that they are looking for. So maybe your child actor will be able to have some good script. So
that's true. So you are a member of the GOP.
I am. I've always been. I mean, I just joined the one here in Coweta.
I saw that. I saw it just recently.
I don't think I was technically a paying member of the Republican Party ever. I've always voted for the most part. I think every single election I voted for a Republican except Obama when he was running in a primary against Hillary. I did not want Hillary Clinton to even have a chance. So I actually threw my vote for Obama in the primary just because I just couldn't have Hillary do it, which I think there's
paid off, I guess.
Yeah, it was my vote.
Your one vote.
That's it. I did it, but
this guy hates Hillary Clinton. It worked.
Atlanta was a very Democrat-run city, so there wasn't a lot of that. And when it comes to the party stuff, I'm mostly Republican fiscally, conservative. I'm a lot more liberal about some other things, but I'm very I believe in the Republican Party more so now than I did years before. Years before, it was the GOP. That always was a weird, the grand old party. That always sounded strange to me. But I kind of feel like in these last couple years, the Republican Party has kind of switched a little bit and kind of drawn some people from the Democrat side that are fiscally responsible and don't want to see the expansions. I mean, if you think about some of the things that are happening, with property rights, normally that would be a bunch of Democrats down there rallying against, things that have happened for annexation and you're taking land. But that's not really how it's been, right? So instead it's been more sort of the Republicans kind of sticking to the traditional values of land ownership rights, kind of the constitutionality of it. I mean, I always wondered how Lincoln was a Republican and then how did Kennedy get to it to where, the GOP had sort of flip-flopped on their ideas. In the 60s, the Dixiecrats, right, the Democrats were the ones that created all of the Jim Crow laws, but then Kennedy came and all of a sudden Lyndon Johnson is not a racist anymore, right, and a guy that or says racially charged things and became the guy that ratified all of the civil rights laws that Kennedy had put on his desk to sign. And then at that point, the Republican Party started to get stagnant. So I would think I was always kind of a Reagan Republican. I remember being in 7th grade and listening to this old man say stuff on TV that I enjoyed to hear. And so I'm like, man, if Reagan could have kept my attention span in 8th grade instead of me watching, G.I. Joe reruns, then I guess it must be something that speaks to me. And so I've always sort of been a Republican. But then there was the Mitt Romney years that weren't that great. Right, those were some tough sort of times. So I kind of think the Republican Party has sort of regrouped a little bit, and I share a lot of the values that go along with that, the traditional, wholesome values that go with the sort of the Republican Party. I agree with.
When I was in my homeschooled group, we had a mock election, and you get to break up into teams and choose any president that had ever been president to vouch for. So I was Team Ronald Reagan, and the other team that had traction was Team Abraham Lincoln. And so we campaigned against each other, and we got down to the big day where everybody voted, and it ended up being a tie. We ran a campaign on hate. So okay. I knew a little bit about Reagan, but I was like, you can't trust Abraham Lincoln. Like, I'm me, so I was having fun with it, making up reasons not to trust Abraham Lincoln. But it ended up being a tie, and so the pastor of the church we were at, he got to be the tiebreaker, which doesn't seem fair.
Abe Lincoln won, right?
And Abe Lincoln won by one vote because, well, it's honest Abe. It's Abe Lincoln. Yeah. And I still, that's why I don't support homeschooling anymore. It's because I got screwed in my Ronald Reagan mock election for Abraham freaking Lincoln.
Well, if you're going to get beat, that's a good one to get beat by.
I guess that's a good one to get beat by. It's just so
you know, when he ran, when Abraham Lincoln, I read a book on his candidacy, on his presidency, and he had people that hated him in his grouping. He didn't choose people for partisan reasons. He chose them for who was the best person to be at the positions. And some of the people,
made me feel bad.
Some of the people hated him, but he knew they were good at what their job was.
I mean, that's how it should be.
Doris, I'm trying to remember the book by Doris Kearney. I think it was her name. Anyways, I read that book, and it was really, really good. So, little side note there.
There's a good book, you guys. You heard
by Doris somebody. I think it's Doris Kearns.
All right. Anytime somebody is willing to tell me what party they're affiliated with, I ask this question.
Yes, sir.
What is an area that you are the conservatives are big on, that you are the most liberal on? You describe yourself as fiscally conservative. What's something that what is an area? What is the thing? And I ask this to liberals too. I'm what is the thing that you're actually really conservative on? And sometimes they give a real answer.
I mean, I'm more libertarian, I guess, in a sense that I'm for the government, but I do think social programs a little bit. A lot of really hardcore fiscal Republicans don't really believe in the very right side, don't really believe in a lot of social programs. And so I do believe in social programs. It has the word social in it, right? So it has socialistic components of that is to help people. But I guess I have a little bit of the fiscal side to say that I don't think someone should be on welfare for 15 years, right? There's that disconnect where social programs help people and children and things of that nature, but I'm not sure that we do a good job of finding a way to get them off of it. And so I would say that a lot of fiscal conservatives are really about cutting a lot of the social programs, not all of them, and I say that in a broad stroke, but there are things about them, and I understand a little bit about why, because they just seem to go in perpetuity. There just doesn't ever seem to be a let's give to fix it and make them better, empower them to not be on that, right? So I think the social programs part are a way that I sort of dot the fence and say, well, I do think you should help in this situation. But then they're like, yeah, but for how long? And I'll go, well, you're right. I don't know the answer yet, because now government's going to have to take an even bigger role to help find ways to help get them off, right? But, I mean, you do have to have social programs to be able, for the betterment, in the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, right? So social programs help support that.
That's a good answer. Well, and being able to say, I don't know the answer yet, is really tough for most people to say. Most people are like, no, I have to have an answer. And it's the age of social media. You have to have an opinion. You have to have an answer. Sometimes you don't have an answer. Sometimes, I don't know.
Well, and when it comes to commissioner, there's some things, that I used to say to kids, and this is a tricky one, but if you really process it, you don't know what you don't know until you need to know it. So a situation will come up, and maybe you have some knowledge about it, but then when you hear some other pieces, you realize, man, I need more data. I need more. And so there's always going to be situations that come up in life that we all don't have the answers to, right? We try to come up with the best solution, but when I'm running for this position, I want to be able to say, hey, let's stop and take a second. None of the council, people on the commission are scientists. Has anybody written the DNR and said, hey, can you chime in here and let's find out, if you have any questions to the DNR about putting this data center here and you have any of that? I just don't see a lot of people really diving into finding out what the answers are. And that's what I want to do is I want to give the most informed answer with as much data as I can get my hands on to make that decision. And that doesn't just come from the geology reports. It comes from people that live out, specifically speaking about Project Sail, in the Sargent, area. They're all on wells. There's not a lot of people out there that are on city water. There are some, but there's a lot of wells. And as you read the data, just the construction from digging up the ground and stuff messes with people's wells. And so I just think
there's just a lot of pieces that I think need things too. I'd like to see them get a council together. Say, you know what, we're going to take another 6 months and get together a group of scientists and residents and all these people and form like a committee, an action committee to help advise us on our decisions. Something. I mean, you just wonder where is everybody getting the information specifically on data centers, other than Project Sale, which is the group that has been, they're against sale, but my goodness, the resources that come out of there, the articles they pull. One woman, I don't know if I should say her name, but she visited them. She drove.
What's her name rhyme with?
Capacitor.
Okay, cool. Keep going.
There you go. So her and another girlfriend of hers drove around the country. I mean, on an 11-day tour, and visited data centers, all different ones that were apparently supposed to be good ones, right? Ones that were bad ones, right? And they drove all over the place, and then they gave their information to the commissioners. I was at the meeting when they handed a zip drive and said, hey, we did sound measurements and talked to neighbors, and I thought that was fantastic. I thought that should be something, that data that should be put into the paper or should be, broadcasted, because that's solid data. I mean, anyways, I just think that that's an important piece, to it, is to be able to use data to make decisions.
So that's where you fall on I guess the data center stuff's like the biggest thing right now.
It's a big deal. And, that's where that progress word comes in that we were talking about. I'm not opposed to a data center, but it has to be in the right spot. It has to be agreed on by people in Coweta County. It has to be, in the right spot.
Do you think that's possible, though?
I do.
To be agreed on by enough people?
You're never going to get everyone to say it, but, there are parts of the county. I mean, isn't that Amazon monster already right off the highway? And, well, what if you put it right next to that? I mean, there's just some discussions, because the thing that I think is important, forget where it would go. I mean, Project Sale, I am against. I'll go ahead and say it now, based on from all the information that I've heard, based on the information that I heard from the gentleman that works for that works for the Natural Resource Department and used his data. This thing's in a recharge zone. It's in a bad spot. I would say no, based on what I know, to Project Sale. But I think that, let's just say that there was a data center that majority, 90% of Cowetians would say yes to. Let's come up with that. Let's say, yes, there's one that's going to work. What kind of revenue is that? If the county is operating on a $120 million budget and you come up with $50, $60 million instantly to give to that, think about what that would mean. That 66 cents that the school system operates on, well, they wouldn't really get any of that tax revenue, I don't think. I think it would mostly go to the 33% side and be able to fund those things, right? Maybe in the Sargent area, they would help that part of the educational system, and that's a detail. But imagine what millions and millions of real dollars would be able to do for Coweta from social programs. I mean, do you think that would get the people off the street from behind Big Lots? There's just a lot of things that money can do. And of course, I can still see someone who's not sitting here right now being like, they won't use any of that money for that, right? Because money seems to contort everybody and they use it how they want. But I think if a data center was going to come out and was agreed upon, I think they should talk about what some of that money would actually do.
Right.
And that's an important piece that I think as commissioner, that I'd like to see. I mean, I'm not looking for buyouts, but I would like to see, if Coweta County citizens have to give up a little bit of a piece of what they like to call quality of life because of data center, and I don't mean like sale, one that's agreed upon, right? Cutting down trees and everything, no one's ever going to like that. So there's got to be a sacrifice that's made. If beavers. And if a data center is put there, what does that mean to each person? Does that mean you freeze property taxes? Does that mean that you pay a certain percentage of property taxes? Whatever that looks like, I'd like to see a tangible component to progress, right, or whatever that is, to go to the people of Coweta. Not just telling me, oh, well, that's $80 million to the Coweta government. what does that mean to you and I as 30265 or 30263ers, right? I think that's all of our.
Don't give out my zip code.
I think that's important to figure out what that means to people in Coweta. And I think when you're able to balance that, you're able to take a look at it. I mean, in Las Vegas, a million years ago, when the gangsters got all put into check and the government said, well, we're going to put this to a vote, one of the big deciding factors for Vegas to allow gambling was, well, first it'll be on this strip. Now I think it's statewide. But secondly, we will pay for all the property tax. So Las Vegans don't pay any property tax. So anytime a school needs to be built, it's the gambling money that, takes care of that. Now, I'm not asking or advocating for gambling.
Yeah.
I mean, even though that's what I think the Hope Scholarship sort of does with the lottery grants. But it was a way for people in Las Vegas to see, hey, if we give up a little bit of a piece of what we call this, look what it does for us. I mean, 0 property taxes in the city of Las Vegas. So I'd like to sort of see some measure that replicates that in some fashion, for Cowetians.
I had a guest on here a couple months ago. We're kind of changing topic. Who very, very liberal, far left, and she believes that given in a couple of years that Newnan is going to just be a lot more blue. With the influx of the Hollywood stuff nearby and television people coming in and everything like that. Everyone I've talked to since that disagrees. But where do you think politically Noonan's going to look like in the next 4 or 5 years?
I think the Hollywood part, there's a new piece to that. When this person said that to you, maybe they didn't realize that the tax break just got pulled from Georgia and all the studios are freaking out.
Oh yeah,
because
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, if you research, it was just in the paper. I don't know if it was in the Noonan Times or if it was
breaking news before Noonan Times.
That's right.
Take
but I
that,
did
Noonan
read
Times.
there is that tax incentive wasn't forever. It was a period of time, and it's come up. They can renew it if they want to, but now other places are the new Georgia, and they're starting to move and do their stuff there. With regards to politics, I mean, Atlanta. You got to think of that. The only reason why Democrats win Georgia is because of Atlanta, essentially, right? So, I mean, we touch Fulton County. Cobb County is very purple. So I do kind of think that politics are changing. But I also think right now the Republican Party is in a really interesting piece. I mean, Trump won again. If you'd have asked me that January 7th a few years ago and said, do you think Trump will win? I couldn't even believe he was the nominee again. So I've seen crazier things happen. But I do think that as the influx of people come in, I think there'll be more Democrats here. But I think Coweta is going to be a minute, maybe 20 years down the road, I would see maybe making some changes. But at that point, the same way I told you how the Republican Party kind of flipped a little bit for me, maybe something will change for them. I mean, the news cycle, 10 years is forever.
Yeah, that's true.
So you'd have to see what would really happen.
In order to get endorsed properly, if anyone followed along with our James Shepard episode, we have to run you through a round of trivia.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to let you pick your category here today.
Okay.
Your choices are I before E, which means the answers to each question will have an I, the letter I, before the letter E. Or a round on God, which are questions about God. Get a room, which is part of each answer can be combined with the word room to give you a familiar location or phrase. Monkey business, which is a round on monkeys. Or general knowledge. What are you feeling?
Of all those choices, I think general knowledge is a pretty good one.
I figured. Okay. All right. So you need to get 3 out of 5 of these questions correct. For me, I told James I would vote for him. Then I can't vote for you because you're not in the right district. But
right.
I'm sure I know people.
Are you in Noonan here? Are you technically city of?
Yeah.
Here? Okay, cool.
All right. Here's question number 1.
All right, here we go.
Let's see how smart you are. According to Webster's dictionary, necessary is one of the most commonly misspelled words. How do you spell necessary?
I have to write it. Hang on. I'm a speller. I was a good speller, but I got to write it.
You got this.
You got a pen?
Nope.
Because I do misspell words a lot, but Necessary. Cessary.
There you go. One. You're at one
I'm sitting
point.
here writing it in my hand.
He's over here.
My daughter was
People
in the
can't
spelling
see it.
bee championship last year, so she'll be excited.
Squibbling on the table.
That's right.
All right, question number 2. You're doing well. You're doing well for America. A clouder is a name given to a group of what animal?
A clouder?
Clouder.
Cloud.
Clowder.
A clouder.
Clouder.
For an animal.
What
Oh my
group of
God.
animals is a clouder? 2 teams got this right last night. I mean,
my
there were teams
God.
of like 7 people.
All right, read me the question one last time, and
Oh
I'll
my
give you the answer.
God.
Go ahead.
A clouder is a name given to a group of what animal?
Birds.
That would be cats.
And why?
Specifically domesticated cats, but
A clouder.
I would have taken cats.
All right. Yeah. I should have known that with the kikis running around here. Uh-oh, I'm 1 for 1.
1 for 1. A traditional Irish coffee is made with what type of alcohol? Do you know your alcohol?
Yeah, I mean, you make, here's Bailey's, Irish cream, of course, but then you can also make it with whiskey.
There you go. Whiskey is the answer.
Yeah.
2 for 1. You need to get one more right.
I mean, I am Timothy Patrick Ryan. If I didn't know the answer to that, I'd have to answer across the water for that.
Which newspaper does Peter Parker work for as a photographer?
Well, the Daily Planet is not right. That's Superman.
That's Superman.
Spider-Man, oh my God. James Jameson is the editor.
Yeah, that's the editor. You got the people.
Oh man, I can. Don't I get like 3 choices?
No.
'Cause I'd pick it if I had that. Oh my gosh, he works for. I can see the building. I can see it. This is bad. And Spider-Man's one of my favorites. It's not Daily Planet.
You got half of it right now. It is daily.
It is Daily.
There's just another word you got to get.
Examiner. Oh, it's not World. This is wrong. The Daily Telegraph.
That's wrong. It's the Daily Bugle.
Bugle. Oh, yes. Oh no. This is it. This is the make or break right here.
This is if you deserve our votes or not.
Oh,
it all
Lord.
comes down to these things that have nothing to do with Noonan.
Daily Bugle. Dang it.
Final question. What is the name of the internet prank that involves misleading links to the 1987 hit Never Gonna Give You Up?
You've been rickrolled.
Rickrolled, yes! You have officially been endorsed.
Awesome. Oh, that's
in
fantastic.
the most professional way possible.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna hold you down.
Okay, you don't know the
Okay,
words.
we got it. No, but I know the melody. It's important.
Now, when you're doing your campaign, you need to have on your campaign website a link like donate here, and then click it. It takes you to
Harold tried to rickroll me.
All right, we're about to let you out. Do you have any last words? Which sounds like you're about to get on a scooter again. Do you have any words for the potential voters, for the city residents, for the locals, for the Peachtree City people who listen that I don't want to?
Well, don't say that, but I would say that become active. You have a very good following of individuals, young and old, and I would say that being active and getting involved civically in your community is very important. And as much as you don't think your vote means anything, it does. And it doesn't just mean on election day. It means showing up to commissioner meetings. It means showing up to planning meetings and comprehensive meetings. Take an interest in what happens in your community, and you'll be surprised how much you learn and how much you can affect change.